How's it going, guys? We are going to talk about mastering, and we are going to master using Ozone 9. Ozone 9 is available for 20 bucks a month rent to own on Splice, and Splice is available for about 10 bucks a month. So altogether, that's like 30 bucks a month. Kind of expensive, but maybe you should cancel your WoW subscription, Final Fantasy 14 subscription, Hulu, Netflix, whatever it is to get it, because it's pretty good. You could master using these default plugins, but I find you get much better results using Ozone 9. We're actually at the Ozone 10, but 9 is still pretty darn good. Even 7 is really darn good. So I would recommend getting that. Splice is pretty accessible, so I think this is the most accessible way to get a mastering plugin instead of, or you can get the Fab if you're like really rolling in cash and you can just spend a lot of money, get the Fab Filter suite. But if you want to, spend some money but not too much, I would recommend Ozone 9. So the first thing to do when you master, bounce out your track with nothing on the master, and then bring it into a new session, get your tempo the same so you can like loop things. We're gonna loop this whole section because it really helps to loop the main meat of the track that you want. So here we are. We're in here. This is Crystal Satellite. One thing to mention about mastering, for it to really work as well as you can, you need to have a proper mixdown. And I have another video on how to get your mixdowns really solid. That link will be in the description. So you want to start with a great mixdown, because if you don't have a good mixdown, you're not going to be able to master at a proper loudness level unless you do some really crazy tricks. But then you're going to get some distortion. So the main idea is you want to have a good mixdown. I don't know why that took so long to say. So the first thing we're going to do, let's get Ozone on here. We're going to find like where the drop is. So right there. Just going to focus on this drop area. So the first thing to do, this low end focus is pretty cool. I don't know if we really need it. Subtle low mid emphasis. I'm not going to mess with this right now. But the first thing that we could do is like maybe saturate it. And this will kind of limit some of the peaks. See these peaks right here? Let's get, what's a good, where is it? Right here. Saturation, why am I not seeing it? Vintage tape. Let's look at some of these presets. Extra high in emphasis. Warm up. So bring out body more. We could try that. This did not increase the headroom. Lies. We could actually try going in here, getting this saturator, because it's actually pretty good. Maybe putting it before here, because it has this soft clip. And I'm going to be looking at these peaks right here. And something I might try, this is pretty ballsy. This is if we really want to make it loud. We put a limiter right here. Let's just see what our... So we'll just do that. We'll go like that. Okay, so what I did is I boosted this and used this limiter to sort of figure out like what the maximum boost was. Does that make sense? I was just figuring out how far I can boost this to like the very end before I get to like the ceiling. So like say the track here's like 0, where you if you go beyond this you start peaking. I was like boosting it, and then the limiter started activating. I was like, okay, I'm like right at the end. I'm gonna pull back a little bit and then turn on this soft clip. And I basically gave myself no headroom. But I can go like this. This is if I want to get rid of some peaks for making it really loud. So, we don't necessarily have to do this though, but I just wanted to experiment with that. So here we go. We've kind of gotten rid of some of these peaks just a little bit by using the saturator. I might just boost it a little bit more. Okay, so then we are going to go into Imager. And we are going to look at this low end. About 130 is good. Wow, that's pretty good. You want basically mono. We're going to bring this down just to make sure it's super mono. And we're going to do this low area right here. See what it's like. Okay, that seems fine. Don't really need to do anything there. So the mix down is actually pretty good. We'll see what this area is like. Okay, let's see what this area is like. Okay, so we don't even really... This is all we really needed to do. And just in case you don't have these things, I'll just show you what it's like without this. We can go balls to the wall mastering after. I just want to show you how you can do this totally with just ozone. I didn't use this limiter. I mean this saturation. I could have put right here, but I don't really trust it. It feels like it's doing some weird stuff. So we're just gonna go totally using everything else, and then I'll mess with this if we want to get even louder. This type of technique is if your mix wasn't that good and you need to kind of correct some things. This mix seems like it's going to be pretty good, and once we get to the final steps and see what our LUFs are, we can start messing with this. Kind of overly complicated, but what I'm trying to say is make your mix really good, and mastering will just be easier. You won't have to do weird stuff like this. So the next step, we are going to use this exciter. Detailed transients. This will make the punches sound punchier. Okay, just preset, set and forget it. Ozone 9 is pretty good. We're going to use this vintage EQ because it has this cool thing called detailed sides. This just makes the stereo information a little bit more stereo sounding. And once I get to this point, I like to do gain match, which will just, when you bypass, it'll keep the volumes even. So you can A/B your affected and raw signal at the same level and, you know, really hear like the true difference. It's subtle. It's a little bit crispier. The next thing, we're going to go into dynamic EQs, and we're just going to find some bad frequencies. That's a bad one. -40. And then, oh, that's too much. About -3. Let's see if there's any more. That one, we'll do -40. And then, like, around 3. See if there's any in the low end. Maybe just a little bit. I don't know. I think I like that low end. Okay, next, we're going to go to dynamics. And this is a nice preset right here. Where is it? It's called Modern Dynamics. So we're just going to see what this looks like. I put on the all band so I can see them all. Seems like it's doing some pretty good stuff. I'm not going to mess with that yet. This is where the magic really starts to happen. So we're going to go to a one character. I like this modern. Bring this all the way up. Turn true peak on. And what we're going to do is we're going to bring this down gradually until we start seeing some gain reduction. We want to get as little gain reduction as possible and as many LUFs as possible. We're already getting pretty loud. It's going to get louder. At this point, we're going to see if we can use this trick. See, we got an extra LUF. Let's try 3 dB of headroom. Pretty crazy. So just to reiterate what this is doing, we push this to, like, we use this to figure out how much we can push this saturator, and just got to the very ceiling. And then this soft clip is toning down some of the peaks. So we're really pushing the track and like toning the peaks down, like these peaks right here, so that we could how do I visualize this? So you have a track right here, but then there's like a peak right here, and if you were to like go up further to the ceiling, this peak would like limit the amount you can push it. But if you cut the peak down, you can bring everything else up louder. And that's what this is doing. Ideally, you would want to do this in the mix to make it, cleaner. But this is kind of a way to fake around it if your mix isn't as good. And that is pretty darn loud, and we're not getting that much gain reduction right here. And if we go into here, you can hear a little bit of clipping, but it's minimal. Okay, so say for some reason you didn't feel like doing it this way. But you want more luffs. What you could do, bring this down a little bit more. Essentially doing kind of the same thing that this is doing, but just after the fact. This may give you a cleaner sound, but I think you might hear a little bit more distortion in the low end. But honestly, I don't know if I even notice it. And what is our gain reduction right here? That's actually pretty darn good. And then what you can do, get this maximizer, maybe transient, so it's going to focus on like the peaks. And we don't want to do too much. And I might keep this right here, true peak. Okay, let's go over to this low end and listen to it. So it's distorting a little bit, but at full volume, you don't really notice it. And this is about usually where I'm mastering, around 4. Let's try combining everything. That might be crazy though. Now we're really loud. But let's listen to this low end. Okay, so it's really distorting. What we could try to do is that's kind of an acceptable level. So I just pulled this utility down. And let's go like this. -4 exactly. This is pretty darn loud. If you have FabFilter Saturn, you could use that instead of this, because it's Fat Filter Saturn is like really good to just put on your track. Just the standard Saturn will just like clear out all your peaks in a similar way that we did with this. And look how loud we are right now. So the way we got here is we did some saturation in the beginning to eliminate the peaks. We did this exciter. I think we did all presets, by the way, guys. This was a preset detailed sides. I just went and found the bad frequencies, the frequencies that kind of piss me off. And we just did -40, -3. Dynamics preset, modern dynamics. Didn't mess with any of this stuff. And we did a modern at 0. True peak, pulled this down until we started getting just a little bit of gain reduction, trying to get as many LUFs as possible, balancing out these two things. And I would go in here and solo this to hear if there's any distortion in the low end. There's a little bit, but you can kind of get away with a little bit. And the better your mixing is, like the more you could just, bring this down and get the high LUFs without distorting. My mixing isn't perfect, obviously, but say like Skrillex was mastering, he may be able to get away because his mixdowns are so good. Get away with like clean, like super clean in the low end and like really loud LUFs. It's really based on how good your mixdown is. We want it a little bit louder, so we just squeezed a little bit more from here with the transients, and then played with this how much headroom, because we're feeding in, because this is before the ozone. This is basically feeding into the ozone how much signal we bring in, and like the more headroom there is, the less chance there is distortion. And so I brought this down from 3 because I didn't want too much distortion, and that's to taste. Maybe if you have like a really heavy dubstep track with just lots of like screechy synths, you could probably get away with a little more distortion because everything's kind of distorted. But I try to like make things as clean as possible, and I feel like that's a pretty high amount of LUFs. So once we're at that point, we're just gonna listen to it like this. I think this goes harder than my original master, because I didn't do this saturation. This is more of a newer technique I learned to make things even louder. So we kind of just listened to it to make sure that this master we did right here like works with everything else. Okay. Sounds pretty good. That part's like a bridge. It's not supposed to be super banger. Sounded pretty good to me. So I would say this is done. So then the final steps here. We go into dither. Turn this on. This is really technical. We're a little bit beyond the scope of my understanding. I'm not quite sure what the DC offset is, but I usually filter it. I could be. This is where I kind of just going by intuition. I try to do low because I want to try to add as little noise as possible. This whole process is for converting down converting from 24 bits to 16 bits. And if you're really loud, it shouldn't matter too much. So that's why I try to do as little noise shaping as possible. This is just the metering. Resetting really doesn't affect it. So I'm trying to do I do like medium to low. I'm gonna do kind of low. Limit peaks, and auto banking mutes the dither when it's silent. Although I don't think there's any silence in here, so this may not even matter. But these are the settings I like to use, just so it's adding as little noise as possible. For my understanding, this is pretty good. So we got everything here. It's all mastered. And so then when we go into export audio, okay, guys, come on, load. Oh my goodness, sorry, guys. So we want to do no dither in bit depth 16 because it's at 24 already. And this right here, this dither is going to convert it to like dither it down to 16. But we don't want a dither option right here because it's already dithering right here. And if we double dither, it's going to not sound as good. And then we hit export, and then we're done. And that is how you master loudly. So just, to go over everything, again, make sure your mixdown is really good first. Watch the video that I have in the description, how to get, your mixdown good. And then, you go through this process. And this right here isn't necessary. Like if we just turned this off and just did ozone, it's still pretty loud. But you get a little bit of extra doing this. That's if you really want to boost it to the max. So I hope that made sense, how this was all mastered. If there's any questions, just let me know in the comments. And if you want a track mastered by me, send me a message on Instagram, and I will give you a master. That's about it. My mastering rates are pretty affordable. I usually do one free master, and if you like it, if you don't like it, you don't have to pay. And if you like it, then we can do some more. But that's it for now. I hope this was nice because I don't see too many mastering tutorials on YouTube, and I wanted to do one of myself to help you guys out for like modern, big, loud mastering. But that's all I got for you guys today. Thank you so much and have a good one. Peace out.